So, this is going to be an episode of Around the Campfire story. I'm sitting here in my blind today, and it's kind of wet and rainy. Not too much going on. Talked to my wife to see how she's doing, keeping the home fires burning. And I thought we'd tell another story about hunting years past and Dad. So, it seemed like Dad's stories changed a little bit. When he got up in his 80s, his early 80s, and he was still hunting with me, his stories, well, they went something like this. I was sitting in my tree stand, and I went to pull a pimento and cheese out, and I reached into the bag thinking about making that sandwich the night before and how good it was going to be. And he says, my mouth started salivating. I reached into the bag and went to take a bite, and the sandwich was frozen. Of course, it was, like 18 degrees out. And then he would say, I reached for my thermos, and it was a cheap Stanley thermos. It wasn't anything like a Yeti. And he would do it and pour it, and he'd go to take a drink, and it'd be ice cold. So at that point, Dad would say, well, I got tired, and next thing I knew, my head was slumping and I was sleeping. And of course, I think he snored, and it sounded a little bit like a buck grunting. But invariably, he would always talk about waking up, not knowing where he was, and he'd see his knee and thigh was covered with snow, like 6 inches of it, and his hands and forearms were covered in snow. And he would look around and realize he was up in his tree stand hunting. And almost 70% of the time he would wake up, there'd be deer all over the place. So he'd just slowly get his rifle, pick out a good doe or a nice buck, and shoot it. So I thought some of us older people, now that we're hunting, could relate to that story. So anyway, just trying to break up the hunting time a little bit. Appreciate you for watching, and be safe, have a plan, and be patient, because patience helps you harvest a deer.